Language choice and topic. So, what is the role of topic in affecting language choice of bilinguals? Now, language choice might be constrained by reference group, by the group that is physically present, by the group that you associate with. It might also be affected by the situation, that is, whatever you interpret as the situational style at the given time or in the given context, but it also may be affected by the topic that you are using as the focus of your discourse or your discussion. And this topic might shift or might lead to a language change, although the group might be the same and the situation might be the same. So certain topics, it is argued, are used in a certain language, and whenever we are talking about certain topics like sports, informal topics or formal topics leading to talking about careers or academics, so you might also notice that we seem to code switch, and we seem to actually not just code switch but shift to another language. So how does that happen, and why does that happen, and how come that the topic change has an effect or has a constraining effect on the choice of the language that we use? Now, it can be triggered by several factors that have been reinforced over time. So, this reinforcement, we are arguing, is embedded in the socio-cultural context and socio-cultural context of a group or of a wider nature. So, it might be that we have been trained to use language X to discuss a topic X always. For instance, the doctors might have been trained to use specific terms or to use medical language and use English register of medicine whenever they are talking about some ailments or disease. Having said so, it might be more difficult for the doctor then to switch from this part and from this language register in English to talk about the same thing in Urdu when they are conversing with a patient. Or not just switching to Urdu, but it might even be more difficult if they are to use a regional language. So they might do that, but their ability to do that is highly constrained, and the choice that they would often make is to explain what they have learned in a specific language. They would like to also use it when they are talking about that subject. It might also be a possibility that there is a lack of specialized term in, for instance, language Y if they are to discuss the topic X. So this constraint might be in the language itself. For instance, it might be difficult to use a replica of a medical term in Punjabi or Sindhi. Or it might be that the doctor, because he has been trained in a certain language to talk about a certain field, might not be aware of it. So, in any case, it will trigger a change in language choice. So, what we are saying is that when there are certain lack of terms to talk about a topic X in language Y, then most of the times the people will actually simply shift to language X if they are talking about the topic X. Not only that, They will also try to shift the language, because at times they might consider it inappropriate to talk about the topic X in language Y. So in a certain community, if certain things or certain topics have always been discussed in a specific language, then the members of those group will always use that language to talk about that topic. And if someone uses a language Y to talk about the same topic, then it is an interactional pattern. This will reveal an interactional pattern which will be different in form from other group interactions. That means it is something to be noticed and kept in mind. Now, this might be difficult to analyze again, because you might be talking about a certain topic, but you might also be talking, might also at times try to retain a language when you are talking about the same topic in a certain group. So, having although said that a topic constrains language choice and leads to the shift in language, however, it is the social and cultural norms of language use which will dictate this change, definitely. So what we want to do by looking at the emerging patterns is to understand how an individual uses them. And by studying different individuals, we would like to understand the wider socio-cultural patterns in the given context. For instance, if we come to understand and we come to this result that a certain topic is always talked about in a specific language, then we come to also this understanding that there is a certain kind of language dominance in that area. So this would also reveal a kind of socio-structural context, the hierarchy of languages in a given socio-cultural context. If certain topics which are related to academics or career or workplace, if certain language is dominant, then it definitely allows us to say with some safety that this is the hierarchy of language use in the given socio-cultural context.